There you go.
We're live.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that.
It's Wednesday. It's 8 p.m. It's the Gauntlet. It's picked off.
Hey, where's that fraud at? Where's that fraud JJ at?
Taking the
Oh
night off.
boy, just trying
Oh
to
my
start it off like that. Hello, welcome viewers. I'm Dom. He's James. He's Jay. Joining us, special guest John Shearer. We're here to make picks on the games this week in the NFL. First and foremost, 12:30 p.m. Motown, Ford Field. It's a tradition. We're favored by 10 points. Someone else go. John, start us off. What are your thoughts?
Oh well, the Bears are terrible. They've been playing pretty good offense as of late. The Lions are just a juggernaut, and this is a game where the Lions always find a way to play down to their competition. And they're going to do that in this game because I don't know why they find ways to do that. They did it against
On
Indy,
Thanksgiving, we
so
sure fucking do.
on Thanksgiving they love to do that. I remember when Tom Brady threw 6 touchdowns against you guys. So I think this is going to be closer because anytime you get negative
That was the
10,
Stofers fucking Thanksgiving.
Oh, no wonder Brady shredded y'all. You cursed the Lions doing that.
So that's the backstory behind the schedule Thanksgiving.
It was hard times. I was in Florida.
Okay.
John,
and
what you got, man?
anytime you get a 10 point spread like that, I mean that just feels like it's too good to be true,
Thank you.
right? So Lion, I think the Lions win, but I'm not taking that negative 10. Hell no, that is too good to be true when it comes to betting. I mean, you found the hard way, James.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
But we ain't gonna talk about that.
This cat
Um, I guess
loves
I got
baseball.
I think that the Lions are gonna win ultimately, but it's a division game, so I think it'll be close. But the Lions I keep waiting for the Lions to make a mistake, and they're not doing it. I need the Lions to slip up so the Eagles can at least tie them in the standings. And the Lions just keep that thing going, man. They score a lot of points, they get ahead, they get leads, and that's the way they play football. So I think it's gonna be closer, but the Lions will still win.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with John on this one. This just feels like a game where the Lions might overlook them in the first half or something. I do have the Lions winning, and not only that, but that's just kind of the way the Bears have been kind of going as of late. Like with every game, like stay in it, and then right when you need them to punch through, something terrible goes wrong. And unfortunately, the same thing is going to happen. They're going to be on the cusp of the biggest victory of the season against their rivals. And Jake Bates is going to break their hearts on a game winner, 27-24 Detroit.
I could see that. I'm picking the Lions. I don't like that spread at all. We will exercise our Thanksgiving demons. Um, Representing for JJ, if you want a prop bet, Caleb Williams over under on touchdown passes 1.5. Take the over. Even though it would break precedent this season because we have not given up more than one touchdown pass
All year.
all season.
Mm-hmm.
I think they get a
Taylor's
late
starting to
one,
play a
make it
lot
look a
better.
little closer than it was. Like I said, not taking that spread, but we can afford to give one up. And I said at the beginning of the year, we might find a way to blow one against the Bears, but not tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. All right, next game.
Okay, can I ask a question about that game specifically to Dom? Is there any chance the Lions sit Montgomery and or St. Brown just because they have a more important game in 7 days from tomorrow? Because tomorrow's game they can win without those guys, but they have to beat the Packers in a week.
Correct. Monty was banged up. He exited the game early against the Colts. I was there. What
Mm.
a weekend. Decker is sitting as well, even though like he got hurt, he came back in. I expect if Monty does play, Gibbs will be the RB1 as far as the share of the carries. I wouldn't be surprised if he sits. And yeah, I mean, like Jay said, we don't want to look past them, but um, Monty will be used sparingly, if at all. I'm fairly certain he's going to suit up because he came out and said Sunday afternoon that he planned on playing. I know we had Monday
I don't
off,
see
and then
the
it was
reason.
only 2 days to practice, and then boom, it's Thursday. But he'll play, just probably not a lot.
That's why the Lions has the luxury of having a guy like Gibbs. So if it were my decision, I would just sit him out.
Yeah, I won't be mad if he doesn't play or play sparingly. It's fine.
Moving on to the next game.
Ugh.
Oh, this is like green
Ugh.
bean casserole.
Exactly. It's the green bean casserole bowl. I'll go
This
real
is
quick.
time for the scheduled nap of Thanksgiving.
I read earlier that Tommy Cutlets is not traveling to Dallas, so I guess we're looking at Drew Lock.
Yep.
Just a stellar matchup between Drew Lock and Cooper Rush. Uh, I'm gonna pick the. I don't care who wins. Neither one of these teams at this point barely even belongs in the NFL. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys because they don't even know how to tank right.
Nah.
Yeah. James.
Um, the Cowboys beat the Commanders last week, which was surprising. But the thing that kind of made me think the Cowboys were even more stupid was at the end when the guy returned the touchdown again instead of sliding. So the Commanders almost tied the game with that play to Terry McLaurin, missed the extra point. The game was just comical, to say the least. But the Giants, I think, has no energy. A lot of players spoke out after Daniel Jones was cut, and they said that they didn't really feel like it was all on him. And they just kind of look really lethargic, and they look like a team that just doesn't really care. They have no energy. So I think the Cowboys will get this one.
John.
Well, as far as Cooper Rush, you mentioned him. He's actually he's averaging almost 300 yards a game in the past 2 games. So he's played pretty decently. They're not asking him to do a whole lot as far as stretching the field, but I mean he's playing better than whatever Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito are, whatever that two-headed disgusting monster is. And then we heard
The
neighbors
Hydra.
speak. We heard neighbors speaking out against asking. He was asked about not getting the ball, and he's like, "What do you want me to do? Like when we're down 30-0, I'm finally getting the ball. Like ask my coach. I can't do anything about that." So they're an absolute dumpster fire. The Cowboys are getting some of their guys back on defense. Deron Bland's a pretty good player, so they're getting healthy. They have Parsons back, and the Giants are just. And like you guys said, the Cowboys don't know how to tank, so they're just going to win, and then they're going to end up with like the 14th pick in the draft, and they'll miss the playoffs, and they'll win a bunch of these games they shouldn't. And they'll end up with like 7, 8 wins, and miss the playoffs. But
Just
yeah,
that one win last week dropped them from 5th to 11th.
that's classic Cowboys. So they'll win this one easily. I don't even think this will be close.
Jay.
This game makes my ass itch. And not just both sides, the exterior. It's in the crack too. That's how bad it is.
Can we lobby
Deep
to take
in
the
the
away from the
bowels,
Cowboys now?
in the crevice of a mind. That's where this game sits. Okay, because we got Drew Lock, who in the outing he had against Philly last year, he kind of had his moment, right? Then you got Cooper Rush, where actually he hasn't been passing that bad, but still. This is a terrible Cowboys team and an even more terrible Giant squad. I don't even think Dak Prescott, from the way he played before his injury, really would have made the game any different, even though he historically kills the Giants. Just give me the Cowboys by default. Um, we might see another special teams play, but I'll say Cowboys 27-14.
Okay. Next game.
Ta-da!
Oh, the Dolphins and the Packers. John, why don't you start us off?
This is huge.
Try to convince me why the
Probably
Dolphins
the
will
only
win.
good game of the day.
This is a huge game. For as far as NFC, the Packers aren't out of that division, so this is huge for them. They just beat the Niners, and then the Dolphins are red hot right now, and they're only a game and a half out of the playoffs. they're not a team, if they continue playing this way, that you want to see as a 7 seed. You don't want to play a team that's playing like they are right now. So this is a big game, and also the Dolphins can squish some narratives in this
It's
one.
not a narrative when it's true.
It's a narrative.
I heard
It's
this
not
exact
necessarily
same
true.
fucking thing on the radio. I want to change the narrative. You can't win in cold weather. It's not a narrative. It's fucking facts.
Well, they have the opportunity to change that. So I think the Dolphins win this one. Their defensive line's been playing so well. Jordan Love is not. If Jordan Love was healthy, I would change my mind on that. But I don't think he's healthy at all. And I think the Dolphins try to make him mobile, try and make him beat them, and he just can't move right now. He's a statue. He's not healthy from that injury at the beginning of the year. He's still banged up. He's trying to gut it out, and he's hurting his team. Malik Willis would be better off starting for them right now. They can't pass the ball because Love can't push off the back foot. So I got to go with the Dolphins in this one because they'll shut down Jacobs. They've been doing well against the run. And then the Packers will be forced to throw the ball, and they just can't.
I think Willis won both of his starts.
He did.
Yes,
He did. He's
So,
2-0.
And he looked pretty good.
I was gonna mention Jordan Love as well because another thing I noticed is versus last year, he's having way more turnovers. So I feel like that's also gonna play a factor. Which quarterback doesn't turn the ball over more? So I gotta pick the Dolphins in this one. I liked what I saw. Jalen Waddle last week had his best game of the season. So when you get him and Tyreek Hill going, it can cause a problem. So they're playing good, and I'm not sure about Jordan Love and all the turnovers this year. 11 interceptions this season. I think that's going to be a problem. So I think they're going to slide, and Dolphins win.
Jay?
In my honest opinion, and John may or may not agree, I think the factor for the Dolphins is that run defense must come out to play. You got to take number 8 out the game. If you force Jordan Love to win the game with his arm, now it's an even ball game. I had the slight advantage Packers because of what Josh Jacobs did last week. He's a hell of a running back. But I think the Dolphins can I think they can kind of gritty down and take Josh Jacobs out, and then it's going to be up to Tua to be the quarterback to limit the mistakes. We may see a big play from Waddle. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. I think that they pull it off. It may come down to a potential game-winning drive. Jordan Love throws the ill-fated interception, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins 28-21.
I will go clean sweep Dolphins because A, fuck the Packers. B, last week, Jordan Love did something he hasn't done all year, which is not throw an interception. Unfortunately for him and his team, he starts a brand new streak of throwing at least one interception per game. And that's what I think it comes down to, like one or more of y'all said, the turnover battle. Tua might throw a pick, but Jordan Love is good for one, probably two. And I like the idea of rewriting the narrative. Dolphins win one in the cold.
I just think Jordan is a little reckless with the ball. If you go back to the playoffs last
He's a
year
gunslinger.
against the 49ers, he slings it across his body and then picked off. So
I think
he's doing a lot more of that this season.
As far as what you were saying, Dom, because the Packers' pass defense is still pretty stout, I think the Tua interception is going to happen, but it won't cost them the game. He'll get it out of the way early. He'll get it out of the way early, and like I said, it's going to come down to who's going to commit the least amount of mistakes. I see more happening for Jordan Love than Tua.
Remember, there's no Jair Alexander tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's big.
Yeah, just retire. And Xavier McKinney's been on a milk carton for about 3-4 weeks. Everyone's like, "Oh, Xavier McKinney, he's the man." No, Kirby Joseph is the man. Xavier McKinney is just another safety that plays in our division.
Next game.
That's it. That's all. Friday, Netflix. I hope you learned something from that Tyson fight, you motherfuckers. Because right now in my head, what I see on the screen, fucking Tecmo Bowl.
It's Amazon, by the way.
It's Netflix, isn't it?
No,
it's Amazon.
Netflix is
Netflix has the Christmas games.
Yeah,
I thought it was
Netflix
Netflix.
is Christmas. This is still
Okay.
Friday.
Well, I was
This is
going to
still
turn into
Amazon Prime.
Netflix and try and watch his things. I didn't know that.
I thought Dom was gonna say all I can see on the screen for this game is the buffering logo.
Yeah,
Tecmo
well,
Bowl.
don't worry. Christmas is around the corner.
Yeah.
Raiders. I mean, we're not pressed for time, but I mean, raise your hand if you're picking the Raiders, then put your hand down.
Uh,
Do we even need to talk about this game?
I'm not picking the guy from Super Troopers, so I'm good. Aiden O'Connell.
It may be another game where
Aiden
the Chiefs.
O'Connell
Well,
and Gardner
It,
Minshew
it,
have between them, they have the best and worst mustache tandem
is this the first matchup or the second matchup of
in
the
I
the
season?
think
entire
it's the
NFL.
this is the second matchup between Raiders Chiefs. Last year, the Raiders stole one in Arrowhead on Christmas Eve, but I just don't see the same thing
Ain't
I
happening.
gonna
guess
happen
the
this
But
only
year.
at
thing to
the same
talk
time,
about really is the spread.
I will
Does the
also
Chiefs
say
cover?
that if the Chiefs could play down to the Panthers, they could play down to a division rival. So I actually wouldn't be shocked if this game was
The
semi-close.
Panthers, but people keep saying that the Panthers have been playing good ball the last
They
couple.
have.
Bryce
Like
Young, I
Bryce
think, is
Young's
starting
been
to figure it
playing.
out.
He's starting to
I'm
figure it
happy for
out.
that midget.
He's getting comfortable in the system. Like he's been playing good ball, not great, but it's been playing. He's been playing, and they have a run game that is really
Yes.
hard to deal with.
You
So
put
Yeah.
them in a good
Raiders don't
position
have
last
any.
week.
Chuba's like fifth in the NFL in rushing
Yeah,
yards, very quietly.
But you know what's so crazy though is very rarely will
All the
Bryce
money
Young
they're paying
throw
Miles
for.
Sanders to be
Very,
RB2, that is crazy,
and
right?
John, you see this too. Very rarely will Bryce Young throw for a 200 plus game, right? He threw for 260 against the Steve Spagnuolo defense.
and he looked good in that game too. He was
Yes,
making some
The
pinpoint
question
throws.
is, if Andy Dalton doesn't get hurt, is Bryce Young still on the bench?
Probably.
probably. Because they
I
didn't know what
mean,
they was
when
doing.
he got
Because they didn't
benched,
trust him
everyone
yet.
and their brother was saying the Bryce Young era is over. He's going to get traded in the offseason.
I
Andy
still
Dalton
think he's
comes
better
in,
than
looks
Brown.
great. First game as the replacement, like every backup quarterback ever has done. We've seen it. Andy Dalton, Ryan
We don't know.
Fitzpatrick, insert backup quarterback name in their first start. Then they come back to earth. All right, next game.
All right, here we go.
Jay, start us off.
Whew. Okay, so you all have heard me say last week that Houston's usually good for dropping one or two bad games, right? Jets were the first one. The second one was Tennessee. All right, cool. This one here should be our bounce back game, but I will say this much. If they can't pull it off, I'm not so sure about them the rest of the year. I will still root for them. I will still stay behind them, but I have to be realistic about my team because they're going into a brutal slate. And John, you did mention this, and it was pretty criminal of the NFL to have these guys play 3 games in 10 days.
3 games
And
in 10 days.
yeah, and basically the top of the AFC in a span of 4 days. No matter what, that is criminal. They were definitely setting the Texans up, but it is what it is, though. Again, it should be a bounce back game. I don't know if T-Law is back, and we could be
Yeah,
facing Mac
he's
Jones.
projected to be back. Yeah, he practiced today. He's
He
projected
did.
to be back. Yeah.
Okay, then. Even still, Texans have to win this one. They have to go into December, undoubtedly the hardest month of their schedule, with some momentum. So, of course, by default, I'm going to take Texans. I'll say Texans 24-14.
John?
The Texans have not been playing great. I know they got Joe Mixon, but I don't know. I really don't trust them right now. And the Jags have this weird way of contending in games they shouldn't. They did it with the Eagles. They kept up with the Eagles in the first half of their game, and we all
And the
were like,
Packers.
"Yeah,
The Packers
And
barely
the
beat
Packers.
them.
yeah."
Minnesota couldn't get into the end zone on them.
So this is definitely a game where I think that where it comes down to the fourth quarter. I don't think the Texans blow them out. That -5, I don't want anything to do with it because it's a division game, and the Texans do not seem to know how to put away their division rivals.
Yeah.
So give me the Jags in this one. I think the Jags upset them.
Ooh, James?
If you guys have been following me, then you kind of know where I'm at with the Texans. The Texans has won one of their last 4 games.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is not looking like the CJ Stroud that he was last season. So that's a problem. When you are this kind of quarterback and Heraldo the way that he is, you just got to play better. And he's just doesn't look like that guy. And I think that's the biggest difference right now of the Texans from this year and last year is him. So if he is really the guy, then I need you to come out against a team that you should dominate and do it and show that you're still the guy. Because it's just been a long time since I feel that CJ has truly looked like CJ. And then you lose this game with the upcoming games that you have later in the season. I don't know. I mean, the Texans could give this division away. So
Yeah.
I think
Nobody wants to win the division.
I think it's a
in
must
either
win.
South.
I think it's a must win for the Texans, and because of the desperation, I think they're going to pull one out.
Nobody wants to watch Anthony Richardson host a playoff game. Nobody.
It could happen if the Texans and CJ particularly doesn't get it.
I was there to witness it at a less than 50% clip.
Even though the defense was also atrocious against
throw sand in the ocean and miss.
But that's all I got.
Dom?
I'll take the Texans. Up until 2-3 weeks ago, Joe Mixon looked like he had found the fountain of youth. He has been absolutely stifled against the Lions. That was 3 weeks ago. Last 3 games, he has not looked good, and he's gotten his carries. I mean, like 15 carries for 22 yards. That ain't it. But this is a bounce back. Joe Mixon gets right off the get right. CJ Stroud gets it right. You can't lose to the Jags. I mean, they're going to go out there and try hard. At this point, Doug Peterson is coaching.
We said they couldn't lose to the Titans, and it happened.
Yeah. I did not say that.
Most people did.
Shouldn't lose.
I guess you're not most people, Dom.
Division game. But, yeah, no one in that division is any good at all, except maybe the Texans. Like, the Colts are not good. The Titans are definitely not good at all, and the Jaguars, just go to London
with the way they played.
Go to London and don't come back. I can't believe we're still sitting here calling them the Jacksonville Jaguars because it's only a matter of time.
I also think with CJ Stroud, I don't think it's. I mean, I do think he hit a sophomore wall, which everybody does eventually. But I also think he's gun shy because of how bad the offensive line is.
Oh, their O-line is so bad.
And I think that he is so antsy and so gun shy that he's making throws. He's hurrying up his progressions. He's doing things he didn't do last year.
I doubt anything has changed. Trust him. But going into that Lions game, the Texans were bottom 5 in win rate on pass block and run block.
Yep.
That's why Joe Mixon was just looking like Superman because he's going out there rushing for 80, 90, 100 yards week after week with invisible holes to run through.
Yeah.
He was on some Matrix shit, but it's caught up to him. But they're not losing to the Jags.
Texans got to get Mixon going in this game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, next game.
Woo. Oh. They're the same team, except one's got a little bit better record. The Chargers, I can't necessarily say they chargered because the Ravens are a good team, although they did blow a lead, albeit a small one. And then who did the Falcons lose to last week?
They were on a bye.
They were on a bye.
Oh, so they
lost
the
week before to the Saints.
Oh,
yeah, lost to the Saints. And now the left for dead Tampa Bay Buccaneers are nipping at your heels while still under 500.
Yeah.
Got Mike Evans back.
So it's basically a pick 'em. I don't know. I don't give a shit about either one of these teams. one or both or none of them will make the playoffs. One or both will lose the first round. I don't know. I guess give me the Chargers. I like Jim Harbaugh. He's destined to be an NFL coach. Give me the Chargers because Lad McConkey.
James.
I think Lamar just made some Lamar magic in that game against the Chargers. I don't think it's any real knock against them. I just think the Ravens were the better team. I still think the Chargers are a good team, so I think the Chargers win.
John?
It's gonna be hard for me to pick the Chargers because they're so reliant on J.K. Dobbins as their offense, and to me, Justin Herbert's overrated. Whenever he didn't have Dobbins in that game, you saw what Justin Herbert became. He has to have the run game. He can't do it on his own. As soon as he lost Keenan Allen, he magically, turned into not an elite quarterback. Everybody thought he was elite.
Well, Jim Harbaugh
Um,
also neutered him for the first 6 weeks.
Well, he should. I mean, Justin Herbert, slings it all over
Uh,
the place. He probably would have
Overrated as
15
fuck.
picks.
Where's the
Uh,
playoff wins? Where's the
yeah,
playoff appearances?
I don't think he's elite. I've never thought he was elite. But
I mean, elite
anyway,
arm talent.
I think the Falcons win this one. The Chargers, I think they're going to start falling apart. They have a tough
Start
schedule coming
charging.
up. They're going to start charging, and this team that everybody thought could contend with the Chiefs is going to end up 7-7 before we know it. And the Falcons are coming off a bye, so they're healthy, they're rested, and they're going to put it on the Chargers. And this is the downfall of the Chargers because Dobbins is out multiple weeks with another knee injury. So Gus Bus ain't doing it with his 1.5
Dear
per
Jim
carry.
Harbaugh, stop picking up broken running backs on your brother's team.
J.K. Dobbins always gets hurt.
With a knee injury, always.
That's what Ohio State running backs do, Carlos Hyde.
Dobbins just don't remind me.
Wells.
The one
Hyde-
that did Eddie George
Hyde had his-
pathetic less than 4
Beanie
yards per carry
Wells.
lifetime. Is Eddie George in the Hall of Fame? If he
Shouldn't
is,
be.
he shouldn't be. If he
Hyde
ever gets
had
in,
one-
take him out.
Hyde had one
He's not.
1,000-yard season, and that was in Houston. That was so funny you said that.
Carlos Hyde got either traded to or signed with the Browns Nick Chubb's rookie year, and it was just a matter of time until he got hurt, and he did.
I always
Because every
thought
week it was Nick Chubb, 3 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown.
Carlos Hyde ran like he just pooped his pants and was trying to get to the
To the
stall,
outhouse.
to the outhouse. So
No,
he,
that was
had it
James
in the back of his
Houston in real
pants, was
time.
waddling there. I always thought Carlos Hyde ran like that. When I was
I'll take the Falcons in this one. The Chargers may be headed towards a 9-8 finish. The Falcons, because they have the Falcons still, they could win this division, right? But with the Chargers, no, this the Chiefs division to lose. I think the Falcons actually need this game more because they have a sub 500 team right behind them. But I do expect it still to be close though. The Chargers will stay in it, but the Falcons will end up putting them away, maybe with a young ho cool field goal. I don't know. But no, I'll take the Falcons 30-24.
Ryan Matthews. I
Gosh,
haven't even
that guy
thought about that dude in 100 years. Fresno State, right?
Yep,
2.7 yards in a cloud of dust.
pretty much. Next game.
Oh.
Hey, Dom, read the bottom, dude. Do they see something we don't?
The Steelers Bengals is always a good matchup. Bengals need this to keep their dwindling playoff hopes alive. If you reverse the results in 1-score games, the Bengals are in first place in that division. Joe Burrow is playing his absolute ass off, but their defense can't stop a nosebleed, unfortunately. I'm going to take the Bengals, though. Keep this division interesting. Don't ask me why.
Huh.
I can tell you why.
Division game.
When
The
you
only
look
thing that Steve
the
Borden,
Steelers,
also known as Sting, told me one thing you know for sure is that nothing's for sure.
Yep.
The Steelers are the worst, or one of the worst red zone offenses in the entire league. They can move the ball, and then they get down there, and it's always field goals. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Ravens. They didn't score a touchdown in that game. And it's also another reason why they lost to the Cleveland Browns. So I think that's going to be the difference. I think that one thing you can count on for the Bengals is that they're going to put points on the board. Joe Burrow is going to do his thing. Jamar is going to do his thing. They're going to do their thing offensively. Defensively, they're not. But I just think the Steelers are going to not be able to finish these drives, and then the Bengals are. So the Bengals pull out a close win.
Barn burner.
John? I agree with you. I don't think the Steelers can put up points, and George Pickens is probably looking to fight Mike Hilton. I'm guessing that's all he probably wants to do going into this one is just find a way to fight the cornerback right across from him, because that's all George Pickens cares about. When there's a Hail Mary in the end zone to win the game, he's fighting with a DB going in out of the end zone, because that's George Pickens.
Crying about the snow.
And crying about the snow. That's George Pickens for you. But yeah, the Bengals are going to put up points. Steelers can't put up any points. And I just got to say this, but if Joe Burrow's if he had a defense, would he be MVP? Because the numbers he's putting up are MVP numbers, but nobody's talking about him being MVP. What? Because his defense is ass?
You know who else should be in that conversation? Baker.
So, how is Joe Burrow not in an MVP conversation because he has an ass defense? If he had Patrick Mahomes' defense, we would be talking about him being an MVP. Those numbers are those are like video game numbers, but we just write them off because the Bengals are 4-7. That's not his fault.
Can't give an MVP to a.
No, I know. I'm just saying, that's not his fault.
But we can't give an MVP to anyone that isn't a quarterback, even though Saquon Barkley might break the rushing record.
Yeah, you can't do that. Give me the Bengals in this one. Steelers, they can't put up points. Bengals will break them.
Well, I agree. This was a wasted season. This could have been a potential. If the Bengals were like 10-1 or 9-2 or something, Burrow would be.
Even if they were 7-5 or something.
Yeah, even if they just had a winning record and they were in the playoff hunt.
But they only have a losing record because their defense is ass cheeks. So how does that take away from his MVP candidacy? That makes him all the more valuable. They would have 0 wins if he didn't exist.
No, I agree with you. But you and I both know how it works. They're not going to give MVP to anybody on a losing team.
Because we were ass.
Yeah, they just not going to give MVP to someone on a losing team.
But they'll give it to Lamar Jackson, who throws 19 touchdowns in a season. They'll give it to Lamar because his team is the 1 seed.
Right Continue collecting your regular season trophies, Lamar Jackson.
Last year, he was an MVP, throwing 19 touchdowns because they were the 1 seed. If they were the 2 seed, he wouldn't have even sniffed it.
I flat out said as far as this season, it's Saquon's to lose, and if they still find a way to give it to Lamar or Josh Allen, it's only because they're hard up to give it to a quarterback.
No, please give it
to
Lamar.
They should change the name of the award. They should change the name
give
of
it
the
to
award.
Lamar.
But
continue collecting regular season trophies, Skinny Cam.
If Saquon
Here's
breaks,
the difference.
If
Cam
Saquon breaks,
has a Super Bowl appearance.
If Saquon breaks Dickerson's record, then I think you got to give it to him.
You have to. You absolutely have to. I was listening to the first
need him to break it in yards per game. Just breaking it is not okay.
He's not getting MVP because Jalen Hurts keeps stealing all of his touchdowns with the tush push. 8 times he's done it. So he's not getting MVP. He only has 10 touchdowns. That's not good.
They can't stop the play.
Well, as far as this game goes,
people should stop the play.
Well, MVP is not happening on your team, so because of that.
We don't care about regular season trophies, do we, James?
You guys ready?
So I'll take the Steelers. I'll just take the Steelers. Next game.
Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess that's everybody now. So let's go to the next game.
Vikings. Closer than advertised? I don't think so. Vikings are getting the default 3 points at home. Cardinals need this win.
3.5.
Yeah, well, they get the default 3 points, so it's basically they're a half-point favorite. You're talking about statistically the way the standings break down. These are 2 second-place teams nipping at the heels of the teams in first place. Although the NFC West, I don't think any of those teams are good. Like the Seahawks, for fuck's sake, are in first place. Frisco's in last. The Cardinals, they're fraudulent. Still waiting to meet a Cardinals fan. They do not exist. If you ever want to, because you hear about the Detroit takeover, if you ever want a Glendale takeover, just show up in the opposing team's jersey and you will have a 1-0 advantage because the Cardinals fans
Don't
do
I
not
exist.
think,
exist. Never
I
met
think we
one. It's
saw
not real. It's a
when we were
unicorn.
at the Super Bowl in Arizona. I think we saw every jersey but the Cardinals.
Yeah, I believe it. This is the same team that when they got Josh Dobbs, he tried to order jerseys for his family, Cardinals jerseys,
And they didn't
and
have
they
it.
they failed to
I
make
remember
it
that.
happen.
Yeah, that's insane.
Give me the Vikings because the Vikings might be good, although they might start their swoon. Daniel Jones is looking at Sam Darnold like Sam Darnold's looking at Daniel Jones like
That is the
Nick Mullins is like,
They got
whitest
two.
quarterback room I've ever seen.
They have
Daniel
two
Jones,
of the same.
JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold, Nick
oh, I
Mullins.
forgot about JJ. Yes, four
It's the
white
They
guys.
whitest
have two of
quarterback
the same
room
guy
ever.
on their team.
They really do.
That's crazy. JT, who you got?
Pains me to say it, but I'm picking the Purple Freaks. Give me the Vikings. I think they'll get a close one because it's at home. I think the Cardinals are starting to go more downhill. Looked really bad against the Seattle Seahawks, so I'll take the Vikings in this one.
John?
I got to go with the Vikings. The Cardinals had no way of putting up points against the Seahawks. The Vikings have a better defense. And Bacon Grizzler said that Saquon has better stats at this point than AP did. Yeah, AP was facing like 9-man boxes. Everybody in the world knew he was running, and he still ran for 2,000. Saquon ain't facing 9-man boxes. There's A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard out there. You got to worry about them. So, miss me with that
Yes,
nonsense.
the Ravens do. They do got to worry about them.
I'll take the Vikings in this one. They did squeak by Chicago last week, but that was an ugly game that Arizona lost, and that may have been the game to give away the division because the Rams might be coming, and I know they've had this type of season, but this may be the time period where they pick it up. I think last time I checked, the Rams had
Coming
a
for what?
say again.
Coming for what? Did you not watch them in the second half last week?
Oh, well, that's the Eagles.
Well, the
I mean,
Eagles
Eagles
are
is
a
a good
much
loss.
better team.
I'm
Like
talking about
you,
in the division in the NFC West. This could be the time where the Rams pick it up. Unfortunately for Arizona, it's one of those good start, but then you just kind of did this. The Niners are done. That's it. They're done. So
oh
it's just
yeah,
The
done.
Red Cowboys are done.
yeah, they're out of there. But I think the division is out of them and the Seahawks. But this week, give me the Vikings to win. They're gonna move on and stay in contention for the NFC North, even though it's Detroit's division to lose. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Next game we have the Colts and the Patriots.
Ugh.
Fuck, who
My
cares?
God. Oh yeah, this is going to be a rough one.
The Colts aren't good. The Patriots are really bad. Although, gun to my head, I'm taking Drake May 11 times out of 10 over Anthony Richardson. Like I knew this dude was raw and inaccurate, but it's like I saw guys open at, at the can last weekend all day, guys wide open, and he overthrows them.
They were keeping the game pretty close too.
But that's
No, they
because the
were not.
Lions. That's because the
They were
Lions do
not.
that.
No one has scored a touchdown on us in 10 quarters. Yeah, granted, it was the Jags and the Colts. Like, yeah, it's a layup or an open three.
I do agree that Drake May is definitely better than Anthony Richardson, but I think the team around Drake May is just so terrible.
It's
So
bad.
if he gets a team around him, then I think he can be a successful quarterback.
Well,
So
now that Bill
I'll,
Belichick's gone, their curse of
I'll
drafting
take the
terrible wide
Colts.
receivers should end.
I'll take the Colts because I think they're less terrible.
John?
I got to go with the Patriots. The Patriots have been able to put up points recently. Stevenson
He loves
and Henry.
basketball.
they've been they've been able to put up some points. So give me the Patriots, but I mean this game is so bad. Who really cares?
Pulling for the Patriots in this one. I'll go ahead and take them to win. Eventually, they have to break through. We saw some May magic against Tennessee. We saw some
Jesus
more of
Christ.
it. Well, they did keep pace with the Rams at home as well. They lost a close one, but at one of these wins, they got to break through. I think this one is it. I trust Drake May more than AR5, and that should be the difference. Pats in it'll be an ugly one though. I can see like a 17-13 ball game.
I will say though, those alternate Colts jerseys, as much as I hated them when I first saw them, because it looks like the Duke Blue Devils, when I saw them in person,
It,
they have a pretty cool like gradient pattern in them. You know, all five Colts jerseys that I saw at their stadium, because the rest were Lions. Let's be honest.
Who are you taking in the game?
I don't know. Flip a coin. Who cares? Patriots. Fuck the Colts. Their fans were so nice and welcoming. Probably because they know they were outnumbered 10-1.
Their
Next game.
stadium looks like a factory. Like it looks
It
like
does.
they're playing in a factory.
Yeah, it's like a huge
Even there-
warehouse or something.
Like what
It
is
does.
that?
It's a little weird. It looks like the end of a strip mall.
Give me the old RCA dome that burns up your arms whenever you slide on it.
Yeah.
Looks like
Oh, the
concrete.
AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if no one knew anything about football, they would think it was just this huge like Amazon warehouse, you know. Oh, it's probably 95 degrees in there and smells like mufflers. So yeah, and it's like, no, it's an actual football stadium.
No,
Oh,
I remember when we rode right past the Lucas Oil Stadium.
It's the ugliest stadium I've ever seen.
It's not
Aside from
pretty.
Redskins Stadium, which whatever it's called, FedEx Field, that
I
is
will
the
say
ugliest.
though, I
ugliest
got
stadium I've ever
myself a
seen.
very
Yeah.
nice Colts souvenir cup, and the beer was $10. It's like
It's not bad.
16 at Ford
FedEx
Field.
Field is also one of the most poorly put together stadiums.
It's the ugliest stadium, most boring FedEx out on the outside and inside. It's awful. There's
Oh,
nothing.
Washington.
Yeah, it's atrocious. Like it's
Yeah.
boring.
It
It's-
makes the mistake by the lake look like SoFi.
Hey John, did you see that they were trying to pass like some sort of legislation to move them back to RFK in mainland DC?
That'll never happen.
They're also
There's too many rats
rescinding
there.
the logo ban. 2-3 years from now,
A
they
lot
will
of
be the
people want the
foreskins
Redskins
again.
back.
I want it
Yeah.
back.
We
That's
all
the,
do.
only way I'll,
Foreskins.
that's the only way I'll acknowledge their existence.
Foreskins.
Well, next game.
All right, our next game. Let's see. We have the Seahawks going to play the Jets.
Oh my gosh, this slate sucks.
Yeah, there's a lot of not good matchups.
What are we even
Jimmy!
doing?
These are terrible.
This cat is a fucking terrorist. He's like locked in, playoff Hemi, just fucking knocking over everything in his way.
You really
All
likes
right.
basketball that much?
He does.
Who you got, man?
The Jets are what a mess. They have 4 white quarterbacks. I'm sure they'll cut probably Mullins, but Aaron Rodgers, until he's not, Aaron Rodgers is a Viking next year to complete the prophecy.
If anybody even wants the guy.
No, it has to happen. It has to
Yeah,
follow Brett
the
Favre.
He
day
has
they
to go
made
to
that,
Minnesota.
And he
the
has to
day the
rob.
Jets made that trade for Aaron Rodgers, I was like, oh, so he's going to be a Viking next year. And I don't count last year because he played 4 snaps. So last year doesn't count until 1 year with the Jets. He says he wants to keep playing. The Jets don't want him. He doesn't want to be a Jet.
And
Yeah, give me the Seahawks. Waiting patiently for Kenneth Walker to get off the schneid. I don't know that he necessarily does it. Jets defense is pretty good. They need this win, though, and the Jets should just be tanking, I would think.
JT?
I'll take Seattle. I think that the Jets are just terrible.
What a miserable failure that the Aaron Rodgers New York Jets era has been. Like, can
no,
you
it's
please
not
go
a
to
failure.
Minnesota
It's a
and
success
suck
for all
more?
of us.
Like, suck more than Joe Namath did as a Ram? Because I
Joe Namath
fucking hate
sucked.
Aaron Rodgers, and nothing makes me happier than watching an all-time great tarnish their legacy by hanging around too long.
To be fair, Joe Namath sucked all around. He was terrible in the Jets. He just guaranteed a Super Bowl, and that's the only reason he's famous. Look at his
The
stats. He
the
sucked.
worst Hall of Fame
Hall of
quarterback
Famer
of all
ever.
time.
And then
The worst.
Troy Aikman's second. Um,
Terry
I gotta
Bradshaw is second. Troy
I gotta
Aikman's
go with
third.
the Jets because Geno Smith is on the Seahawks, and he's been doing these blunderous plays lately where he just hands the ball off to the other team. I don't know why. He just looks at the other team and is like, "Here you go," at least once a game. And the Jets are really good at turning a team over, so they'll pick Geno off like 3 times. So give me the Jets.
Mhm.
Ew.
The Jets are almost as big of a dumpster fire as the Giants are, and Seattle
It
actually
is the
has
garbage
something
state.
to play for. I'm actually going to take Seattle. I'm banking on the 3 guys on my fantasy team. But if they lose this game, hopefully they put up points. But I'm going to take Seattle in this one. The Jets just don't know what they're doing. The Giants really don't know what they're doing. Uh, but yeah, I'll take Seattle, man. I don't have very much to say about this one.
And Dom, the only way Aaron Rodgers fills his prophecy if he rips off poor people after he's done playing for the
Oh
Vikings.
yeah, yes,
He has to
that is
do
Yeah,
the
that.
fourth step.
that too.
That's terrible.
Next game, still in the 12 o'clock, the 1 p.m. Eastern slate. We have the Titans at the Commanders. Dom.
I mean, the
I
Titans
actually
are
kind of like
bad.
this game.
The Commanders are slipping a lot lately. Jaden Daniels looks human all of a sudden, but they're not losing to the Titans, are they? Are they?
I don't
People
know.
who
Are
said
they?
Tony Pollard wasn't an RB1, you might want to take a look at your receipts. I'd
Hmm.
still say he's not. The dude's arms and legs will fall off at the 220-ish carry mark. Will Levis had a good week last week, but yeah, the Commanders have to right the ship, and luckily they find the Titans on their schedule. I don't like that spread. I'll take the Commanders by a field goal.
All right. JT.
So many shit games. There's like not a lot of
Well,
insight.
tighten up.
Oh, boy.
I
I'm
knew
picking
it.
the Titans. I'm picking the
He's
Titans to
taking
win this
the
game.
Titans.
When I'm
What the
watching
fuck? The
the
Pistons were up
Commanders,
15. Now we're down 6.
you
What
saw them
happened?
against the Cowboys just look like an embarrassing team. They don't look like the team that everyone said was world beaters after like 5-6 week stretch. And Jaden Daniels is starting to get exposed, and the Titans are feeling good about themselves. They just beat the Texans. They're feeling good about themselves. They have confidence. I think they're going to go into FedEx Field and they're going to smoke the Commanders.
Oh, he's
Ooh.
got a big win. John.
I also think Jaden Daniels, he's still playing with that rib injury from weeks and weeks ago, and he's trying to gut it out like Jordan Love is, and he shouldn't be. I get why he is, but he's still injured. He's wearing like some sort of vest to protect his ribs. He's not healed, which is bad for them because clearly he's not able to play like he was. And they're not playing the Panthers anymore. I mean, let's face it, they're not playing these easy teams anymore. And I predicted once they started playing teams like the Eagles that they would get exposed. Jaden Daniels specifically would get exposed. And that's exactly what happened when he played Pittsburgh and Philly and all those teams. He
The
looked a
Commanders
lot
don't have a
worse.
win against a team over 500, do they?
Exactly. So, I think the Titans definitely win this one because Will Levis has been playing decent ball. Nobody seems to be able to guard Nick Westbrook Akini or whatever his name is. I don't know. That guy just falls into the end zone. Nobody knows he's there, and then he, just like pops up, catches a touchdown, and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And Pollard's running better with the same line that Derrick Henry had last year, and Henry wasn't as good as Pollard is this year. I just find that interesting that Pollard's making better use of that line. Give me the Titans.
Um. Whew. So Will Levis got his first division win in his career last week. His arm finally came alive. Our pass defense fell asleep. Now I know that this is a Dan Quinn led team, and Dan Quinn led teams tend to have a semi good to strong defense. on this one. But because the Commanders have been doing this, I mean, I'll take them to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans pulled off an upset. But would it really be an upset at this point, though? Is the question. Um, did the Commanders get exposed against the Eagles? Yes, they did. Some could probably argue before that, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm gonna take the Commanders in this one. Don't leave it on the foot of your kicker. Obviously, he's not fully healed yet. It's gonna have to take a game-winning drive of some sort. But give me the Commanders. I don't have a score, but if the Titans win, it wouldn't be a shot.
And Jay,
So,
as far as that defense, I believe since week 3, the only time they've given up less than 20 points was when they played Andy Dalton and Caleb Williams. Everybody
Yeah.
else has scored 20 or more against that
Um.
defense. So that
Yeah.
defense isn't very good.
Oh, gotcha. So, well, yep. There's a difference between him as a DC and him as a head coach.
bastard.
Yep.
Next game.
Next game.
We have
Okay, Bucks Panthers.
The Bucks are trying to figure it out. The fail cants are fail canting. Uh, Bryce Young's playing better, but I mean, these are. I mean, you can't even say like different tiers because that whole division is fucking trash. But yeah, give me the Bucks. Uh, Baker Mayfield is a lot better than Bryce Young. Mike Evans is better than everyone on the entire Carolina Panthers team that catches passes. Their defense is better than Carolina's. I'd give the slight edge to the Panthers with the run. Well, actually, no. I would take the Bucks bevy of running backs that score touchdowns, including their RB3 that stole 6 points from Bucky Irving last week.
Yes.
Buckets, quit it! You fucking bastard.
just yelling at his cat. I'll go. I think that the Buccaneers will win. I think they're just the better
Quit it!
team. This is the type of game that you win because you're supposed to win and you should win. The Panthers playing better, so it'll be a closer game than people might expect. But in the end, you got Baker Mayfield. You got all these players. Mike Evans is back from injury. Still don't have Chris Godwin, but this team is the better team. And if the Falcons keep losing, then they're going to be trying to get the division back. So, big game for them.
John.
This is the one time I like a spread that big because the Bucks last week, what they did to the Giants, they're going to do to the Panthers. Their run game is working so well. The Panthers are dead last against running backs this year, worse than the league against running backs, and the running backs from the Bucks are playing really well right now. So they're going to attack that way. And then they're going to also have to stop the passing game. So I think the Bucks are rolling this one, and I don't even think it's close.
Yeah. Real quick, give me Bucks in this one. Bucks need to keep pace with the Falcons, and the Panthers are well, they're just the Panthers. They've been playing a little bit better ball as of late, but once you get into the division, who you're clearly the asshole of, they'll remind you of why they are, unless you're playing the Saints. But whatever. But no, give me the Buccaneers in this one. Baker Mayfield. I feel like the end is going to come down to Mayfield and Kirk Cousins for the division, but this right here should be an easy roll for the Buccaneers. I'll take the Bucks 31-20.
Oh my God, Mike Evans's 1,000-yard streak is going to end this year because of injury. I just
No,
realized that.
he'll get like 250 against the Panthers, and he'll get a lot closer. He'll get like 250 this game, and that'll boost him right back up to getting close
Let's
to
hope
1,000.
so. Mike Evans is the most disrespected wide receiver in the entire NFL.
Yeah,
It was DJ Moore, but now he's a Bear.
it was Adam Thielen for a while when he was on the Vikings.
Adam Thielen is 75 years old.
But he was underappreciated when he was a Viking. Nobody, respected that guy. But he did all the
Fair.
dirty work.
Next game. Oh boy.
Los Angeles Rams taking on the New Orleans
the
Saints.
line
The
too
game is in
low?
New Orleans.
I would say yes. I see a shootout, but I mean the Saints. Good God. I know I've said this before. Shout out to Derek Carr for getting Dennis Allen fired 2 different times. That is absolute talent. Give me the Rams. They're getting healthy. Jared Verse, I don't care what anyone says. Jared Verse is the defensive rookie of the year. Rams have most or all of their guys back on offense. This fucking cat, I swear to God. Cat for sale. Cat for free. Yeah, give me the Rams. No, that line's not too low. A shootout, but I think the Rams win like 45-40.
JT.
Gonna also pick the Rams. They got a better quarterback. They got a better coach. They got a better team for the most part. And they are in the thick of things, still in the division race. So if they can win and then other teams lose, like the Seattle Seahawks, where they were to lose to the Jets and they win, that'll be a huge week for them. So I think Rams in desperation mode after that loss last week, they got to get it done.
The West and the South are both a fucking race to 9.
John.
The Saints are one of the worst teams in the league at defending the pass, and the Rams have two pretty good wide receivers. So those guys probably go for 150 each. And Matt Stafford has one of his like 450-yard days. So give me the Rams easily. In a shootout, but the Rams end up winning by double digits. Carl will throw some picks.
I'll take the Rams in this one. Well, the good news is Spencer Rattler's not starting. But but you know what? I'm with John in this one. Every now and again, Carr is like prone to like one of those shootout games, and this one here might be it. But no, I'll take the Rams. I can see a 35-31 final score. Give Kamara a couple of scores as well, on the ground or through the air.
I want a prop for this game on how many medicine balls Derek Carr will throw in it. That's what I want. I want like a 2.5 line on medicine balls from Derek Carr.
Take the over.
Next game.
Oh, guys,
Here
I
we
know
go.
you're.
Oh,
I know you guys are disappointed, man. I am slightly too, but JJ wasn't able to make it tonight.
of course not, because I'm here. He's a fraud, and he knows I would call him out.
I'll let him know you said that.
All right, thank you.
For the record, everyone, the debate will happen this Friday on the Gauntlet.
Well, we hope it will.
Bring
Yeah,
your
if he-
popcorn.
Obviously it's a matchup between two really good teams. I feel like the Ravens have been mentioned a lot, having their run defense. And that's something that I actually wanted to talk about tonight, because I think that the Eagles are still going to be able to run the ball. I still think Saquon's going to have a big day. Let's talk about how the Ravens have gotten a lead in most of the games, and quarterbacks have had to throw the ball. Starting with Mahomes, 28 attempts. Minshew, 38 attempts. Prescott, 51. Allen, 29. Burrow, he had 39 in the first game. Then Baker Mayfield had 45. Daniels had 35. Winston, 41. Bo Nix, 33. Joe Burrow, again, 56. Good God. And then Wilson, 36. And Herbert, 36. So the Eagles run a balanced offense. They stick to what they do. Ravens are definitely going to have problems with Saquon, so I feel like they're going to put guys in the box, and then that's going to leave them exposed with A.J. Brown. So I actually think that in this game, this is going to be the A.J. Brown game, in my opinion. I think
The undefeated when he plays.
A.J.
Brown
is still having
Eagles.
a good season. You have to remember that he's still top 10 in yards, despite the fact that he missed 4 games. So I think that just says a lot about the type of player that he is. So we saw Jamar Chase cause a lot of problems to the secondary. I think A.J. Brown do same thing, and I think the Eagles will ultimately win a close game because Lamar and Derrick Henry are still going to do what they do, but in the end, I think that we just have a matchup problem with AJ Brown going up against the secondary.
All right. John?
Yeah, nobody attempts runs against the Ravens' run defense.
Yeah,
270.
their run defense isn't good.
It's one of the lowest in the league. So if Saquon Barkley runs 25 times against them, the Eagles wear the opponents down. That's what they do. And I think eventually he'll break through and they'll wear that defense down. You got to control the clock against Lamar and company so they can't be on the field. And that's what I think the Eagles are going to try and do. And whenever they do stack the box, then the Ravens are going to get torched by A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and that if Smith plays, that offense. So I just think the Eagles are too good. The Ravens have been reeling. They got lucky against the Chargers, but they haven't been playing very good football as of late. I think the Eagles smoke them.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles in this one. I just do not trust that pass defense of Baltimore. I think it'll be close, but I'll take the Eagles 31-24. Uh, I think Saquon could get off for about 112, 100, between 112, 130 yards, a couple a score or two. But outside of that, I think the main thing that's going to stand out is that pass defense of the Ravens, which AJ should be able to get off, Devontae should be able to get off, Dallas Goedert definitely should be able to get off. I think the offense clicks on all cylinders. The Ravens keep it close, but I've got the Eagles.
Yeah, like John said, the Ravens' run defense is not good. It's just there's not a lot of
It's
attempts
ranked second
against
in the
them,
league.
and why would you even try to run the ball on them when you can just throw on them
Exactly.
all fucking day?
That's
I've
what
seen the
most of
same
the teams
thing
have tried to
that
do.
like the. Thankfully, the Lions' pass defense has become somewhat respectable. Everyone's like, "Oh, our run defense is great." I'm like, "No, it's not. They just throw all over us." No longer the case. Thank God. Plus, I don't. I mean, Lamar Jackson loses in the playoffs all the time. He loses to a lot shittier teams than the Eagles, and like I can't. I don't want to root for the Ravens. I would like to see the Eagles lose to put a little bit more distance between us and them, but I just don't see the scenario where the Ravens win, unless um, unless Hurts absolutely shits the bed and turns the ball over 3 times. Only way the Ravens are winning this game is if they win the turnover battle by 2 or more. Other than that, give me the Eagles.
Which I
They're
can't
the better
see.
team. The Ravens are good. The Eagles are really, really good, and you'll see that this week.
Next game.
All on the Eagles.
Sunday Night Football.
Uh, we can just blow right through this. No one's picking the Niners, are they?
Not at all. There's
No.
supposed to be a snowstorm during the game. So we're supposed to have that Browns Steelers game. We're supposed to have that Sunday night in Orchard Park.
It's going to be
That's what the
perfect.
projection is.
Ooh.
This is the
So
best, maybe the
Well,
best version of Josh Allen that I've ever seen. Plus, they have a run game. They beat the Chiefs. Granted, regular season wins mean a lot less than wins in January. But yeah. And guess what? Brock Purdy, without all of his weapons, he's a 500 quarterback. Ayuk's out for the year. Christian McCaffrey is one more tweak away from retiring. Debo has been injured and/or bitching all year. Kittle's
yep.
been invisible.
Kittle's been the best tight end in football this year. What you talking about?
No, that would be Brock Bowers. But keep going.
Oh,
It's your lie. I'll let you tell it.
okay. All right. Brock Bowers just gets like 5-yard outs, because that's the only thing they throw to in Vegas. It's the only thing Gardner Minshew's broken collarbone can do. Throw 5-yard outs to.
Hey, I've had a broken collarbone before. That shit is serious. It's still in 2 pieces.
That's crazy. J2, who you got? Well, I know you just not.
Before I make my pick, I just want to say something. I wish that I could have the job security of Kyle Shanahan. If they miss the playoffs, this will be the 4th time that they've missed the playoffs under Kyle Shanahan, and every other year was either a loss in the NFC Championship or a loss in the Super Bowl.
Didn't
But
Andy Reid do that for
but
years?
that's different. That's different.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Not
So
different.
I wish I could have the job security of this guy. But the Red Cowboys are just continuing to spiral. They got the ball ran all over them. So I think that James Cook is going to have a game like LaShawn McCoy against the Lions. I think it's going to be that type of a game. They're going to run the ball all over them, and they're going to smoke them.
And Fred Warner's been playing with a fractured ankle since week 4, and he's been taking painkiller injections every week.
Frisco's a goddamn mash unit. They have more guys on the injury report out of 53 than not. Like,
They're
no bullshit.
They're the only team that doesn't have to report injuries apparently either, because how do you get away with, not reporting that your player has a fractured ankle since week 4?
That's what they did with McCaffrey week 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep it short. If the Niners win this game, P. Diddy's making bail. Give me the Bills. Next game. Monday Nighter.
Ew.
Yeah. No one's picking the Browns, are they?
Gosh, this game just screams 17-13.
Is it snowing in Mile High? Then we can lower that to 9-3. Real quick, I'll take the Broncos. Nice change of pace with Jameis Winston and everything. And I know that they were high coming off of a win versus the Steelers. I think they're running into a hungrier team actually in the Denver Broncos. I think they have it in mind that they're not going to catch Kansas City, but they can still catch the Chargers for a wild card if the AFC West doesn't send 3 teams to the postseason. But I like the Broncos in this one. I still like their defense. Bo Nix has been getting better every week. Give me the Broncos.
I'm taking the Browns. Nick Chubb returned to form. 2 touchdowns in that snow game. He still doesn't look like the Nick Chubb of old, but this is the week where we see it. When healthy, Nick Chubb is the best running back in football.
No, he's not, by the way. I'm going
He's
to
not
pick.
right now.
You said when Nick Chubb is healthy, he's
He
better
said
than
he's
Saquon
not
Barkley,
healthy.
he's better than Derrick Henry. Please give me what you're smoking.
He's not healthy.
Anyway,
He's not healthy.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He said when healthy.
5.1 yards per carry lifetime.
Are you guys watching?
Jim
Are
Brown,
you guys
though.
watching
Jim Brown,
what
that's
Saquon's
Nick
doing
Chubb,
this
that's
season,
it.
or do you need to have your eyes checked? Well, you're wearing glasses, so
I mean, you can't argue with the
I'm assuming-
numbers that he
I'm
just
assuming-
gave you.
I'm assuming that you're wearing glasses that you've already had your eyes checked, but maybe you need to go back.
Well, it's
But
been a while. It's been like a year.
on the topic, I'm going to pick the Broncos just because I think Bo Nix is playing good football, and I think Jaden Daniels, the way he's playing, if he keeps playing like that, Bo Nix can still the Rookie of the Year. So I'm gonna say he shows up and the Broncos win.
John?
The only thing I care about is Jameis Winston's speeches before, during, and after the game. That's the only thing I care about in this game is Jameis Winston talking.
The horses are going into battle, but the victory is from the Lord.
I don't know if he believes anything he's actually saying or if he's just saying it. I'm not sure. I can't tell. It's like a comedian that you can't tell if they're being serious or joking. I'm not sure. Give me the Browns in this one. I think Broncos are overrated. And, Jameis Winston's there. So what the hell? I mean, I don't care about this game. So give me the Browns. This is the shittiest slate of games I think I've
well, I looked at it right before
all
it
year.
came on. I was like, oh, God.
Man.
And that's all we have.
Did anybody tell you, Jay, you kind of look like Marshawn Lynch right now with like the goatee and the beanie? Kind of look like Marshawn Lynch a little bit.
Hey, he's just here so he doesn't get fined.
Yeah. I'm actually have the dreads to match sometime this next month.
Oh, bring the braids back. Corey with the braids.
Yep.
wish. It's over for me.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Wednesday. It's about 9:09 p.m. We ran long. Sorry, Sideline. This has been the Gauntlet picked off for James, Jay, and our very special guest, John Shear.
Thank you.
Good night, Albuquerque, New Mexico.